popular, that's why he didn't.
Yeah.
I just switched ties.
You want to have it on the football field, not in the church.
Alright. Well, I'd like to get in and get settled. So. Alright, welcome everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, 6 o'clock here. Just want to thank everybody for coming and for everyone in the audience here today. We'll start with the roll call. Darren.
Here.
Holly. Here. Tony.
Here.
Tom.
Here.
Rochelle is present. And Ray is absent. Next we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, next up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So a motion will be in order.
Support.
Moved by Tony, supported by Tom. Any discussions to the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, opposed same sign. Alright, motion's carried. Next item on the agenda is open forum. So I have three requests to speak for our open forum request form and process. And I'm just going to outline and address as a reminder, which is standard, our open forum protocols. The board chair will recognize the speaker one at a time. Only those speakers recognized by the board chair will be allowed to speak. If you are approved to speak, you will be speaking directly to the board. You are not speaking to the audience or the community, the staff, students. It is to the board. Comments must be limited to the items on the agenda. And also comments must be informational in nature, and your time will not exceed 5 minutes. All written requests must meet the requirements of the comment period protocol, or your request will be denied. The board cannot engage in a discussion or debate the allotted 5 minutes, but will take your information and find answers if appropriate. Comments must not reference identifiable information on employees or students, and comments must not use profanity, insults, threats, or defame anyone's character. Violation of the open forum protocols is subject to Minnesota Statute 609.72, which is disorderly conduct. Again, the board's intent behind the open forum is to be able to offer an opportunity for the discussion and dialogue. So I'm just going to ask that anyone that is speaking to please remember respect and professionalism, and we are happy to hear from you. So I have the three requests. All three have been approved to speak. I will remind you, some of you have titled as the SLPAC meeting on here, but the agenda item today that is listed on here, which I'm assuming is the intent of your discussion, is the Ely Public Safe Learning Plan, and so that is the item that would most likely represent what you were looking to speak on, including the mask, because that is a section of the policy. So that is what we are allowing you to be speaking in your 5 minutes on. Frank, I did get a request that you have to leave, and you asked if you could go first.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I personally like to, Frank Udovich speaking to the SLPAC. I personally like to come up here and speak to people because I don't like to hide behind an email. I have written to the letter to the Ely Echo. I'm not sure that always gets the point across. I like to do this in person so people can appreciate me or hate me for the comments that I make. Okay. I want everybody to understand how difficult it is to step up and say what I have to say about these topics, people and decisions. No, I'm trying to help. I'm doing the best I can to give advice and relay information that so many people in Ely feel. No doubt there's good people in here that I like and I very much appreciate. I'm up here because I owe it to you, the teachers and coaches that have helped me so much in my life. Also, to go along with that, we are still solving some of the problems created by some of the people in power almost 10 years ago, but some of those people are gone as well. It does not make me feel any better that the last guy is gone either, but if you don't have child first policies, you're not going to be long for this school. I do not get any joy from this, but I was correct. He is gone, and now we are picking up the pieces. To go along with the COVID and the masking, I personally cannot understand the fear of COVID. I never could. I understand people have been told to fear for their lives, to lock down, to wear masks. They are emotionally fragile. They are terrified or were terrified. I'm trying to understand where all of you are coming from, but I could never live like this. There's a vaccine. There's great therapeutics. We've had 2 years to get healthy and prepare for this point. There's no excuse other than power, fear, I'll leave the last word out, to still be masking children. I cannot understand how we are still masking children after all the data which my wife repeatedly provides for you, the data that you asked for but would not collect on your own. The numbers clearly show masking policies have not slowed the spread of COVID at all, not here in our school or anywhere in the world. The numbers from masking policies and masking optional policies are almost identical. As with red state, blue state results of COVID policies and lockdowns, the results are almost identical. Has it been worth it? You got your way and everyone got COVID anyhow. The SLPAC and the masks kept no one safe from COVID. You won't like this, but it just looked like a big waste of time. I'm sorry. COVID policies have clearly been political from the very start, but it's gone beyond political. From what I've seen, it's become almost cult-like and religious. The last one is a little bit snarky, I'll leave it out, but I mean, you can still see what people are, some of these people that are masked, they're suffering. The mental illness is probably terrible. I can understand that. I don't know where they're coming from. I've said a bunch of prayers for these people. Some of those people have recently gotten COVID. They've realized it's been nothing to them. We've welcomed them back into our circles and our communities. I just had a conversation with somebody I hadn't in almost 16 months. It was very sad. A friend of mine, but it was a great conversation. That person was so happy. They've got COVID beyond them. They're not masking anymore. Double, triple vax, double mask, canceled everything, sacrificed everything, and now they're back. I didn't have to do any of that. It seems like we've ended up in the exact same spot. I've sacrificed very, very little. I want to remind everyone, Ely did not have some youth sports and canceled a playoff game last year because of COVID. Unforgettable and unforgivable. I have a great affection for the coaches and volunteers. It's always the same names. You know who they are. They're good, generous people, no doubt about it. But I've known since I was a child that Ely has never been very serious or committed to athletics. The cancellations prove that. But I never thought I would say that about Ely Public Schools. And do not get this twisted. I know some of you will. There are some wonderful, good-hearted individuals here, no doubt about it. But if you have a season, but if you don't have a season, or everyone goes home from school, you can't say you are committed. We should never let that happen again. I went to a school for industrial technology education. It's basically a shop teacher. I was going to substitute teach in my off season, and I hate when teachers are disrespected. But we as teachers, coaches, mentors, had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to become a top-of-the-food chain profession by staying in school and teaching like the heroes some of us are. But what did you do? Went home, sent the children home, and canceled entire seasons. The people that made those decisions are still doing the same thing today with the masks, and they're still making those decisions. I coached more practices and games for Ely last year than any other coach at any other level at any sport, including the college. No one got sick.
You're at 30 seconds, Frank.
I did much better than any medical professional, our school, or the SLPAC did with COVID safety. I did not miss one practice, not one game, not one function, and not one person asked me how I did that. I don't know if it was ego, dislike for me, or you just don't care about safety. I appreciate your time. I'm going to go coach a hockey game, and I'm going to go coach a hockey practice where nobody's going to be masking and nobody's going to get sick.
Thank you, Frank, I appreciate it. Devin Hinkins?
Hi, I'm Devin Lubens. I haven't met yet, so I wanted to introduce myself before we started. Good evening. I'm speaking here tonight to urge you to make a motion to add revising the mask mandate to tonight's agenda. It's time to end the mandate and move towards a mask optional. The metrics the board previously approved are now outdated. The metrics were developed during Delta, pre-vaccines for 5 to 11-year-olds, and when science told us cloth masks work. Since then, we have moved into Omicron, vaccination eligibility for 5 to 11-year-olds, and the CDC changing the science to cloth masks not working. The quarantine protocol has changed, and recognition of natural immunity has occurred. There have been roughly 210 plus COVID cases in our school so far this year, with 85% of students and staff vaccinated in the Memorial Building and another 40.9% of the elementary. It would be reasonable to believe that a large majority have natural immunity or have been vaccinated. We are seeing more and more states and school districts end their mask mandates. We continue to watch our neighboring school district demonstrate success without mandates in place. We are seeing research on the potential harms of masking in schools emerging every day. What we are not seeing are studies proving that masking children in a school setting has stopped the transmission of Omicron, especially when they're not wearing them properly. Our children are not required to wear masks in any other setting other than a healthcare facility. The majority do not wear masks during sports or extracurricular activities, whether on campus or off. They're not wearing masks to run to the store. They're not wearing them to birthday parties, to hang out with friends, or while vacationing out of state. The hypocrisy is not lost on us. Why do we continue to subject our children to masking when we do not have the data to provide that it is working? What's the reasoning? Where is the science? Students in both the Memorial and elementary buildings have had an opportunity to be vaccinated, and families can still continue to protect themselves by wearing an N95 if they choose to. It's moving towards one-way masking. We need a reasonable end date. Waiting until the March 14th meeting is unacceptable. We've been waiting since September 7th for this mask mandate to be lifted. This is not a new topic, nor should it be a surprise, and asking us for more time is just a slap in the face. Please do not make our children wait another month and add this to tonight's agenda. It's time to end the mandate. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. Anthony?
Anthony Brumel, Ely resident. I did send an email a while back with an article regarding these N95 masks. Since my last email and article that I sent, I've heard back from a couple school board members indicating that they're looking to move on from masking, and a couple that they aren't. The two that indicated that they weren't looking to move on from masking indicated abiding by the CDC recommendations and looking at all sides of the issue. Lots has changed over the last months, yet Ely schools are stuck in the status quo at the expense of students and families. CDC has come out and said the cloth masks don't work and disposables have limited value, yet you keep the students wearing them. There are lots of studies and information out about the harm to children from wearing masks, including developmental, physical, and psychological harms. Yet those are either ignored or you don't care and are dismissive of them. The drawbacks of masking are very real. That is the sole reason why we are homeschooling our 3 girls. Masking has proven to be ineffective. This is just one example of many, but Babbitt has less COVID in their schools this year than Ely. I talked recently to a Babbitt school board member who said that not requiring masks was, quote, the best decision we made. Natural immunity is finally being given credit that it deserves. I don't know what the numbers are. I think Devin just said essentially maybe 250 over the last couple of years of COVID cases in the school, something like that. But with the confirmed cases of COVID in the Ely schools in the last 2 years, I would say it's time to recognize that protection level that is now built in as well from the natural immunity. Please acknowledge the damage and harm exchange for poor results from COVID mandates and lockdowns. If you're familiar with the recent Johns Hopkins studies about mandates and lockdowns, they weren't effective. And if you're not familiar with that study, I would encourage you to look it up. It was ignored by many of the major news media networks. Those who are still concerned about COVID can do what the CDC says and wear an N95 and offer protection to themselves in spite of others' choices. And they're also free now through a federal program. I just got an email within the last week or so on my state email making me aware of that. Please don't do what some authorities have done and dig your feet in or double down on the restrictions that haven't worked, but rather do what is happening all over the world in many states and countries, and and the restrictions. It's gone on much too long. New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, those states have all recently ended school mask mandates, so please follow suit. I'm guessing that most of, I don't know what all of you do for a living, but I'm guessing that most of you are not masking all day at work, or most of your time at this point. I'm continually reminded of the mask mandate hypocrisy. The Super Bowl last night in Los Angeles, California, to me that was a great example. It's a place with mask mandates, it's a stadium holding over 100,000 people. They handed out free KN95s to all ticket holders, yet you pan the crowd, you hardly saw a mask in the entire building. Every celebrity, VIP, like that was panned on camera, not one mask. Yet this morning, school kids had to wear them. In my opinion, they're being treated like second-class citizens if we, as adults, can for the most part do as we choose, but yet they can't. They're being forced to wear these things. In closing, I want to remind you of the protocols for a more normal year, and masks recommended that document that a lot of work was put into before the school year, and it has been disregarded in every aspect except for sports. So I think it's time to go back to normal in the classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone speaking tonight. We'll move forward with the correspondence and informational items. First up on the agenda is the American Indian Parent Advisory Committee. Jess?
Hi guys,
Welcome.
I'm Jess Anderson, if you don't know me. I teach Indian education here at the school. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the annual compliance. This is something that needs to be due March 1st, and I'm just trying to get it out of the way for them. So our parent committee, they voted compliance, and I have the paperwork and signatures for all that. And then I'm just gonna go over what Indian Ed has done this year. So you guys have your packets or whatever, and I have it on my phone, so don't mind, I'll read off my phone. So some of the areas we focused on were missing and murdered Indigenous women. Senator Mary Sneech visited Ely on October 12th, and students in 9th to 12th grade were invited to take a field trip to Grandview Lodge to bring awareness and change. So what is MMIW? This movement brings awareness to our missing and murdered women. Kanish spoke about laws and judicial barriers that are a harm to bringing justice to our women. We also went over statistics such as Indigenous women and girls are murdered 10 times higher than all other ethnicities. The murder is the third leading cause of death for Indigenous women, and the murder rate of Indigenous women is 3 times higher than Anglo-Saxon women. Moving on to another area we focused on was Linda Lagarde Grover. She's a Boys Fort elder, a novelist. She's also a professor of American Indian Studies at UMD in Duluth. So she came to the school to speak to the middle schoolers who are focusing on the state curriculum of Indigenous peoples. And then we also put on a workshop at the Ely Folk School, and it was titled Writing from a Certain Time and Place. Another area we focused on this year so far is the school-wide Indigenous Games Day. Dr. Dan Gainham from Red Lake Nation will be coming to Ely in March to present school-wide Indigenous Games Day. This will be happening during their gym periods, and the goal is to share culture with all students and most importantly have fun. Also, I partnered with 8th grade science. We looked at the Northern Lights. We visited multiple Indigenous tribes, traditional stories on what the Northern Lights represent, and then we brought it back home to, whose land we are on, which is the Ojibwe peoples. The Ojibwe believe that when you see the Wuwate, or the Northern Lights, it is a sign that you're on a good path in life, or Minnow Bimadizi win. It means your ancestors are dancing with you, and students printed off pictures of the Wuwate, and students also shared stories of their ancestors. We also engaged in speaking Ojibwe Moan, which is the Anishinaabe language. And then we visited the Ojibwe calendar, and the Ojibwe words affiliated with those months. Months and days are represented by 13 moons on the turtle's back, and months are titled by major events happening during those months. And then the
classroom focus, we've been working on mini skirts and shirts, moccasins, bandolier bags, Anishinaabe language, the 4 sacred medicines, clay working, beading and crafts. And then just as a reminder, you guys are not voting, our parent committee already voted and they voted concurrent. And so, thank you for your time.
Okay. And thanks, Jess, for the report too. Very
Yeah.
nicely done.
Thank you.
Great. We also have item B, the Memorial Student Council report, which was in our packet. I don't know if anyone's here to speak on that tonight, so thank you to Autumn for that. Also in your packets, item C is the Ely Community Resource, the quarterly progress report for the 4th quarter. Obviously, another great job by ECR, a lot of information in there for the board to review. So we appreciate all that they do and work on for our students and the community. Next up will be item 7, the consent agenda. A, the program consent agenda. We have approved the minutes of the regular meeting of January 10th. Does anyone have, sorry, I apologize, does anyone have any items in which they wish to pull and vote on separately before I review? We will review and approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 10th. We will also approve the minutes of the emergency meeting of January 18th. We will approve the January 2021 receipts in the amount of $676,732.12 in disbursements and in the amount of $1,402,211.91. We will also approve the January 2021 financial report. So with nobody looking to pull anything separate, I'll need a motion on the table.
Just to clarify before we go forward, that should be January 2022, correct?
Oh,
Thank you. Just making sure I was.
good catch, thank you. All right,
So moved.
I'll support.
thank you. Darren and Holly. Motion by Darren, support by Holly. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, a motion to approve the consent agenda for program has been approved. Moving to B, personnel. Anyone have any item in which they want to pull and vote on separately? All right, so the personnel will be number 1, approve the lane change request for Tim Hogan from BA step 11 to a BA step 24 at $68,360 per the master agreement with Ely Education. 2, to accept the resignation of Autumn Bodecker as the student council advisor effective at the end of the 2021-2022 school year. 3, to accept the resignation of school board director Darren Visser effective March 14th, 2022. And 4, renew the following head coaches for the 21-22 school year as recommended by Tom Coombe, athletic director per the current master agreement between ISD 696 and the Ely Education, and the school board policy. That will be Frank Ivancich, head basketball coach, or sorry, baseball coach, got basketball in the brain tonight. Corey Lassie, head softball coach, Will Helms, head boys track coach, and Eliza Vistica for head girls track coach. Rob Simonich for the head golf coach, which is the Ely position in the co-op with Northeast Range. A motion is in order.
So move. Support.
Motion by Tony and support by Tom. Any discussion to the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Alright, personnel consent agenda is approved. Item C you'll see is the policy. It was a review of policy 533. There are no changes to this policy. This is not an item up for vote, but it is a review only, so. Item 8, old business. So A, 21st Century Facilities Project update. John, I will turn that over to you for an update.
Okay. I'd like to introduce myself to everyone. My name is John Clarich. I was just appointed to the
Gosh, I totally failed.
Not too
I
long.
should've
That's
done
okay.
that. At the beginning meeting failed.
They should hear who I am, so.
Sorry about that.
But, okay, I want to talk about the facility project update. And today we did host 2 county commissioners, board chair, Paul McDonald, and former board chair, Mike Jugovich. Mike represents the Chisholm, Hibbing, Buell, Kinney area. And then also they brought their city administrator, Kevin Gray, and we had them tour the facility. They looked at both Memorial and Washington schools, but they looked very intently. We had a tour of the new facility that's being built right now, and it's coming along, slow but sure. The weather's not helping. They're hoping to pour the concrete here this week to start finishing up a lot of things. They've poured some concrete. The problem we've had in the past is because of the cold weather, the roof is bleeding literally water from the top, so they've cordoned that up on top, so it was pretty dry in there today. There's still a couple spots, so that's why they're waiting for that, so they're gonna move on with that. And we checked all the other areas of the building. They got a complete tour and showed them what that's at. And the reason we're doing that is we're seeing if there's any eligibility for any of the funding that's coming through with the COVID dollars that the county has received, and we may be eligible for some with the HVAC problem that we had when they got in to do the HVAC. There was quite a bit more that they had to do, a little bit of damage here and there, but to meet the new codes, as opposed to what the codes were back in, whenever the buildings were built back in the teens or the 20s, so we had to do some extra money. In fact, the school did use their long-term facilities money to help pay for that on a longer-term bond, but we're seeing if there's any way we can recoup some of that through some of the money that is available to the county, and so that they came through. Now tomorrow we're also going to have Commissioner Mark Phillips from the IRRB come through, and we're also going to have one of his lieutenants, Roy Smith, who's the head of the Applied Learning Institute, or the vocational technical end of it, quite a bit, but also regular education too. So they're going to come and look. We're going to take a tour, and once again, we're looking for dollars that we lost for the supply chain costs that were out there when COVID hit and we couldn't get materials, and when we did get the materials, the markup was quite large. The first phase of the building was only about 10%. I met with Scott Sasala and Carl Larson from Architectural Resources about this last Friday. And so phase one, it was 10%. That's quite a hit. That was quite a bit of money. But phase two, it was almost 40%. So once again, we're trying to recapture some of those dollars through some federal programs that are out there, any programs that the IRRB may have. So I'm constantly looking at that, along with, today I had Rochelle and Tony came along on that tour. It was very interesting. So that's where with the building. Where are we at with the building? We're continuing on. A lot of heavy lifting is there. The budget has changed, whatever. The other reason we're looking at this funding is we want to be able to complete everything that was said and promised when you went out and had the referendum passed a year or two ago. So we're trying to make the whole project, I hate to say it like this, but make it whole again, to make sure that we get everything in there that the public was told was going to be there, the staff was told was going to be there, and we went out there, and the thing holding us up was nobody expected this COVID to cause such a problem with supply chain and equipment and basic supplies, building supplies, everything. So we are on that. We're trying to do that so that we can come back to the school board with presentation that we have everything and get the project back on track and finished. The COVID also pushed back the timelines for this. I don't think that if we get the dollars needed, we get to the remodeling of the classrooms in Washington and Memorial, that might be pushed back till not this summer, but the following summer. But our plan is to get all of that done, along with the new building up and running, and everything that was talked about in the referendum is delivered. It'll be just a little bit late. So that's what we're working on for that project. So I hope that kind of gives you an update on that. like I said, I'm fairly new to the project, so I've spent a lot of time on that. So,
Thank you.
that's just a brief update.
I appreciate it. I know it's been a lot of tasks to catch up in a short amount of time, so I appreciate it. I do apologize. Please welcome John Clarich to the table as our superintendent. Epic fail on my behalf, I will take it. It's been a long rough day, so I completely apologize for that, John, and we are very happy to have you here. Item B on the old business, is our Ely Public School Safe Learning Plan. Would you like to update us on that?
Just real briefly on that, and then some personal comments that I'd like to make for the public, so you understand where I'm coming from and my knowledge of the topic. So, I'm gonna start back, we had an ESOPAC meeting on, February 7th, a week ago. And at that time, we just talked about following all the data and continuing, the continuing cases, the immunizations, everything like that. It's very interesting, I'm new to this, so I'm letting everybody know that I had retired after quite a few years of being an administrator and a teacher. And then I came back out of retirement for this job. I did apply for it a couple of years ago. Eric received the position, that was fine. And I was contacted about possibly coming in and working with everything, and I did agree, and I thank the school board for giving me the opportunity to work with and for you. So, what came up at that meeting, and I'm gonna have to take a lot of the blame for this, being new, I don't have all the data. I had to get all of this data, and I had to get it from various schools. There's plenty of information out there. But I also want to thank, there's a lot of people, there's some people in this room that sent me emails with data, which I followed up on, I looked at it, and everything, I'm following that line of thought, it makes sense. Then I listened to the other side, but I'm getting fed from regional areas and entities and things like that, and it's all interesting. I've got to sort that out myself. I'm too new to this district, to Ely, to make a recommendation. This is only my 7th day working here, to try to change all the protocols were put in place in the past. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, I'm not judging anything, but it was too soon for me to make a commitment, and I asked the board if they would hold off a little bit, and I also, when I talked to the ESOPAC committee, I didn't bring it up that I'm new in this, but what I'm saying to the school board, what I'm telling the public is, I need time to catch up on this. I am also one of those people that, when I get the science, I get the metrics, I understand that, and I follow everything, I want to be able to help you make the decision where we're gonna go, and the school board helped me make the decision. So, I asked the ESOPAC committee, I told ESOPAC I'd like to wait till March 7th, have a very robust discussion at that time, where are we gonna go with Matthew, what are the thoughts, and is there a recommendation to change the protocols that are in place with the school district? I realize some of you are at wit's end, you want to see this change, you have some of the science that's behind you, there's also science that goes the opposite way. I'm caught in the middle, I'm trying to make the judgment on that, but I want to get the input from the ESOPAC committee on March 7th, and then bring forward, I'm hoping we'll have an agenda item on that to look at masking and if there are going to be changes. So that's where I'm coming from. That's my report on the Safe Learning Plan. So it's in public, if you're looking for a little bit of a scapegoat tonight and for the next couple of weeks, it's me, because I wanted to get all the information. Being new, I don't think after 7 days I'd come in here and tell the school board what to do, let alone tell the public what to do. So I needed that time. I wanted to see what I could find out. It was very interesting, the things I heard tonight, and I want to thank the people who have emailed me and left me voicemails. And then I've also discussed this with school board members and regional entities and statewide entities speak information every day to me on this subject. So that will be my report on that.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I think the board appreciates the outline of that and next steps in process, and I think the board will look forward to having that as an agenda item on our March meeting. Next new item of business is, item 9, new business. First item up is a motion, on the table for the approval of the board vacancy process. That is item 51 in your packet. You got the process that was put together, for the board appointment. This is an area in which, the board has the ability to appoint. However, we have put together this process that is very transparent, and allows a applicant, ability for our community, for those interested in, taking a seat with us on the board, at the board table. So, the process is simple. You can see the next page of 53 was also the, position that has been posted already. The ads, are out, it's on the website, it has also, been posted in all of our, the Echo, the Timber J, and the Ely Shopper, I believe, correct, Mary? So that is out and about. If anyone has an interest, there's the process and how to apply for that. We will be moving forward, to utilizing our study session at the end of the month, for the interview process. Following the interview process, each board member will have an opportunity to do their tally for their top 2, candidates from a points perspective in the interview process, and those top 2 candidates will be utilized for our process moving forward. So, if anyone, has any questions about that or is interested, please see our ad and fill out the appropriate paperwork. But the, item is up for motion.
So moved. Support.
Motion by Tony, seconded by Tom. Any discussion to the motion? Questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the motion, moves forward as a carry with the board vacancy process. Item B is a motion, for the Costin Group consultant agreement in the amount of $2,000 per year from January of 2022 through December of 2022. This essentially is the same agreement that we had last year, so it is like a renewal. So a motion will be needed.
Rochelle, point of order. It says here 2,000 per month, or is it per year?
That is a per month. So a motion is in order.
So moved.
We have a motion by Tony, supported by Holly. Any discussion to the motion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, the motion is carried for the Costin Group consultant agreements for January of 2022 through December of 2022. Item C on the agenda will be, a motion in order for the January 22 invoice in the amount of $2,000. So this is our first month's invoice for the monthly consulting public relations work done, which was also part of your packet. So a motion is in order.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Darren, seconded by Holly.
B doesn't take care of that.
Discussion. I think even last year I went and looked through my minutes, because I know once the contract's approved, I don't know that we've done it every month, but because it came in at the same point
Yeah.
when we sat for the agenda meeting, I told her just to add it, but
Yeah.
we'll go back and look, and if it's not necessary on a monthly, because we're approving the contract, I don't know that we'll need to do that every month. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried to approve the January invoice. Item D, there is a motion out for a resolution accepting the donations, which were a part of your packet. On page 58, we had the ELJCs for $4,000 for the early childhood program, the Holiday Station store for face mask and hand sanitizer for staff and student use, Ely Educational Foundation for $400, participation fees for 2 athletes, Crystal Fink for 24-26 for the high school general supplies, and 3M matching gift from Crystal Fink as well for 24-26. So motion is on the table to approve.
So moved. Support.
Motion made by Darren, supported by Tom. Any discussion?
The Ely JCs are still around.
Actually, they're dissolving, that's why they're emptying those things.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Oh, greatly appreciated. Alright. Any other discussion? Alright, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we will, motion carried to approve the resolution accepting donations. We'll move on to item 10, for reports. Tom Coon, you're up with the athletic director.
Yeah, as some of you are certain are aware, our girls ski team is qualified for the state meet, which is coming up this week at Giants Ridge, Wednesday and Thursday. You know, it's a big accomplishment. I'll give you the names of the seven students: Zoe Devine, Phoebe Helms, Ava Skustad, Sydney Durkin, Gracie Pointer, Anna Dunn, and Claire Block. They finished second in the section last week at Giants Ridge. Our boys team took fourth, but they have two kids who individually qualified for state, Gabriel Pointer and John Hackela. So hats off to all of them, and Paula Anderson, the head coach, Tyler Fish, her assistant, and all the skiers. Great atmosphere at Giants Ridge last week, and I expect more of the same this week for the state meet. And you know, as you know, this is not a one-time occurrence. The last decade and a half, it seems like we almost always have at least one of the two teams that qualify. Always have individuals on both sides that qualify. So, Nordic skiing is not a program that has multiple enrollment divisions. It's all one class. So, they're going to be competing against Minnetonka, Edina, Champlain Park, Lakeville South. Huge schools on Wednesday and Thursday down at the state meet. So, great finish for them. Our hockey season is winding down. Their playoffs begin this coming week. Boys and girls basketball both have a couple of weeks left in their respective regular seasons. So winter sports starting to wind down, and you had the head coaches for spring sports on the agenda tonight, and we'll have assistants forwarded here very soon. So a lot going on in the world of activities.
Perfect.
That's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks to all of our athletes, too. B, Director of Facilities Report, Tim.
Good nothing.
Thanks for the awesome tour today. K-5 Principals Report, Ann Elke. You have your reports in your packets. Ann, do you have anything to add to that? Okay. Board have any questions for Ann? All right. We also had Megan Anderson's 6 through 12 principals report was included. Megan is out today, but if you have any questions, certainly address her. Tomorrow, any other discussion on any of the reports provided? All right, so we will turn that over to Superintendent's report. John, floor is yours again.
Okay, real quickly, I just once again like to thank the opportunity to work with and for you, with all the goals that you have set for the district, and we'll keep moving on and get some of these issues squared away as soon as possible. This is my 7th day, but I want to let you know some of the things that I've been doing around the school. I've attended a staff meeting both at the elementary and at the secondary, and also paraprofessional elementary staff meeting. I'm trying to get to know the personnel, the teachers, the people. I've attended one of the ESOPAC meetings, which I talked about a little bit earlier. We've had one meet and confer meeting, which we just had last week with the teaching staff, trying to find out what was going on there, and we had a very good meeting, interesting meeting, a lot about the building, what's happening there, and I'm just telling them where we're at, what we're trying to do with the financing, so, and moving things along. I've spent the majority of my time working on the building project, but also on the COVID issue that everybody is here about, trying to get caught up as quickly as possible. And once again, I appreciate all the comments I received, both either phone, email, the comments made tonight, and seeing that it's a big topic for everybody, and I want to stay on top of that to work with the parents as well as the board on resolving that as soon as possible. I've enjoyed my time in the district. Getting to know the staff is my next big thing, once we get caught up on some of these other things. So that's all I have for my report, except for one last thing, and I would just like to, at this time, congratulate, and it's my pleasure to thank you for all your service that you do to the school district. And it is School Board Recognition Week, the week of February 21st to February 25th. So your reward is you get a Valentine cookie and a Minnesota School Board Recognition Week certificate of appreciation for your dedication to our students and public education in Minnesota. So I'd like to thank you. Darren, congratulations. Michelle, congratulations, and once again, thank you for all your, two were stuck together. Holly, you almost didn't get one. Congratulations. Tom, congratulations. And Tony. So there you go, and with that, thank you for all you do. And with that, that concludes my report for that.
Perfect, thank you very much. Moving on to number 11, board member comments and concerns. Does anybody have anything?
Yep. I would just like to say that, and I want to address this more at the next meeting, but I think it's important tonight. With me making this move and moving out of district and not being eligible to serve on the school board anymore, you know, the interesting part is I've had several people come up to me and say, oh, I bet you're glad you're getting off the board, and the answer is no. I'm not. This is an important position. I take it very seriously. I applied for it for a reason. I've served in many roles in this school. And with that, I would just like to say to everyone and encourage you that there's a lot of people that are passionate about this school and what happens to this school, and that's great. I encourage you to apply for this position. And I really do. It's important, and we need good people here. We need that for the health of this school, the health of this district. Yes, I'm moving barely out of the district. My kids will keep going here. My kids believe in this school. I believe in this school. So do a lot of people here. Everybody that's here tonight obviously believes in the school, or you wouldn't be here. This community is a great community, has supported the school over the years, and I really encourage people, we have an opportunity. Yeah, it's not always easy, and yeah, you're gonna have differences of opinion and this and that, but that's part of it, and that's healthy, and that's good, and like I say, we need good people, and I feel bad that I'm not gonna be able to serve out my term. Probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity came up for my family and I, and we took it. And it causes this situation, but it's also an opportunity to really think. And you got some time to really ponder and really question it. And I would love to see a bunch of applicants, of people that, and we got an election coming up next year, I believe, or this year actually, with positions too, of seriously, here's a way to get your feet wet into it a little bit and see, and not be into a full 4-year term right away. Yeah, I just really want to encourage that. And like I say, people are here tonight because you care. There's a lot of people in this community that's cared about their education, their students for a long time, and that's why I've always felt so strong about this district. And it's a special district, and we need good people to keep helping to go. So please consider, and any thoughts of it, put your app in and, go for it, and because we need you. And, yeah, that's what I'd like to say.
Thank you, Darren. And well, yes, Darren touched on that. We have his resignation, so March will be his last meeting with us. and we will have the process completed, so whomever, the candidate is that is selected for that will take seat for April, effective with our April meeting. And it is, just to touch on that for those who may not know, if somebody is interested in this and does not want to start with an opportunity of running for a full 4-year term, this is a great opportunity to come in and join us from April until the end of the year where, elections are, and obviously the seat would move forward to the regular election process, so. If anybody has any questions, I most certainly would be, happy to help answer any of those, as well as, they can call the district, and John and Mary can assist you as well.
So shall the March study session just be vacant for that meeting? Let's see.
Yes, study session, which, non-voting from a study session
Oh, yeah.
perspective, so, yeah. Just discussion with FTC.
Are you talking about March or end of February?
We will do the interviews in February. He asked if the seat will remain vacant through the March study session. Yes, there is a 30-day oath of office requirement in the process, so. Holly, did you have any questions or comments that you want to add under? Nope. Okay, thank you. Perfect. All right, I too appreciate everybody's comments and concerns, and thank you, John. Again, appreciate you being here for your first meeting. Terrible introduction, but I appreciate you being here. So sorry about that again. All right, last item up on the agenda is a motion to adjourn.
So move. Support.
Okay, motion by Tony, supported by Darren.